I'm Anna,
And I'm Fran.
and you're listening to Murder Words. Welcome back to Murder Words. Today were you about to say something?
I'm back.
So, yes, my husband Brian is back. Fran and I clearly need to learn how to record virtually because we're in a pandemic and we should have known that by now, but we have not figured it out. So, we have a substitute today. And I don't have any business to talk about, so I'm just going to get right into my case. I found this because I was just like listening to, what's that one called? Crime Junkie. And this popped up, and it's the scariest 911 call I've ever heard. And this is a recent case. This happened in 2016. So, the year we got together, this was happening. So, on September 13th, 2016, this 911 call was made to the Ashland, Ohio police. I'm just going to kind of piece it together and then you guys will see. Okay.
911, what is the address to your emergency? 5 Street Laundromat. What is it? 4th Street Laundromat. What's the problem? I got abducted. What's your name? How do you spell your last name? Who abducted you?
Oh, they said abducted.
Shawn Grate. You said John Green? Shawn Grate. Where's she at now? Asleep. Where's she sleeping at? In the bedroom. In what bedroom? There's 2 houses right by the laundry street. And it's in one of those houses. But you're at the laundromat? No, I'm in the bedroom with them. What color's the house? Is it across? If I'm looking at the laundromat, which way is it? If you're looking in the laundromat, it's one on the left of the 2. You don't know what color the house is? No. Please hurry. Does he have a car? No. Well, he's down the street. Okay, what's your phone number you're calling me from? I don't know. And you think it's a yellow house? I think so, but it's on the left. Is it an apartment? No, it's a house. Okay, does he own the house? No, he broke into it. What? Does anybody actually live there? I think they've been abandoned. And his name is Shawn Grate? Yes. Like Grate? Yes. Does he have a weapon? He's got a taser.
So, this woman, who we're going to refer to as Jane Doe, her identity is still kind of hidden because she survives, spoiler. And she is whispering into the phone saying that she's been abducted and he's asleep in the same room as her.
Dude, that's so risky.
And has a taser. So my heart...
Of course, I'd do it too if it was a taser. Like, I'd take the risk.
So I just can't... Like, the courage that this woman has... This phone call altogether is 20 minutes long. It's really long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I will post it, though, so you guys can listen to it. I was on, like, the edge of my seat, like I was watching a movie or something. That's
wild, even just that part of it.
Where did he take you from? My apartment. I mean, I was walking with him.
With him?
You were walking with him? Mm-hmm. Where were you walking to? His place. I've known him for like a month and a half. there any way you can get out of the building? I don't know, without waking him, and I'm scared. Is there a bathroom in the house? Well, his bedroom is closed, and he made it so it would make noise. And if you told me I had to go to the bathroom, he would do something to you? Yeah, because he had me tied up. Are you tied up now? Well, yeah, but I kind of freed myself. Is he in the same room with you? Yes. Is it his phone you have? Yes. Are they on the way? Yeah, we have officers we're sending. Please send them up. Hey, if you're worried you don't have to talk, you can just set the phone down, okay? I just need to hear if the officers find you or not. Are you upstairs or are you downstairs? We're downstairs. There's a door. There's a side door on the right of the left house. And that's where we enter. Immediately there's a kitchen right there, and then the bedroom is right off from the kitchen. Do you need an ambulance?
What's that noise?
Are you bleeding from anywhere? Not anymore. Where were you bleeding from? You don't have to talk if you don't need to, okay?
Dude, what was going on there at the end of that?
So that was her crying. Like, you can hear her crying. She's like, has this constant whisper because he is literally asleep right next to her. So they're in the same room. And in that first segment that we played, she said basically that it's an abandoned house.
Right.
And he broke into it. And she was also saying she knew him for like a month. And so they were
They
just...
went from dating to kidnapping.
So after that part, this is what scares me, and again, I'm not going to play it, but it goes quiet for a few minutes. You know how she said you can just lay the phone down,
Yeah.
like if you need to. So it goes quiet for a few minutes, and I had it on like full blast trying to see if I could hear anything in the background of that phone call.
Yeah, and I was anticipating something really loud about to happen.
Yeah, nothing really loud like happens through this, but...
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I woke him up. I can set the phone down.
So I died.
So did she hang up, or what just happened there?
No, I think she set the phone down, but and before she comes on there was like a weird noise. It kind of sounds like a taser. You don't really know, so I don't know if she accidentally hit the taser or what, but there was a weird noise, and she woke him up. So
Oh my God.
I've never wanted to help someone more than this. Like, this 911 call could be turned into a movie. Literally.
I'm just trying to think, like, how, I mean, unless it's really rural, why does it take 20-some minutes for the police to respond?
That's exactly what I was thinking. And also...
I mean, that place is roughly 4 hours from where we are.
Because...
So, I mean, it could be a lot of farmland and spaced out. But I just think 20-some minute call for the police to get there.
Yeah. So I'm going to, like, get more into that later, too. But also, the 911 operator really bothers me. Like... I mean, of course, I'm not in that profession because I'm super dramatic, and if I was the one who answered the phone, I can only imagine what I would be like.
You would incite panic.
I would. I'm panicking right now just listening to it. But during this, like when she sets the phone down, like after she says, I woke him up, like it's quiet for a few minutes, and then the the 911 operator is like, "Are you still there?"
So
In her
hopefully it wasn't on
clear
speaker.
outside voice, like she is not even trying to whisper at all. So, no, I don't think it was on speaker. But even if it wasn't, if someone is talk, like you can hear that,
Yeah.
especially in a quiet.
Risky.
Yeah. So luckily though, he must have just like moved and then immediately fell back asleep because Jane Doe does come back to the phone.
Are you still there? How much longer? What? How much longer? Do you hear any officers outside? Okay, they're in the area. See if they can come in the side doors, like, softly. Is there a padlock on the bedroom door, or is it just a regular lock? No, I don't even know if it's locked. It has a knob, so. Can you get up and see if you can get out? I'm afraid of waking him. If I knew the cops were right there, I would do it. I don't even know if it's open, how it's open. Is there a window around there you can look out? Yeah, but the floor squeaks in. It's right by his head. Are you laying down? No, I'm standing right by the bedroom door. And you can't open it? What? Can you open it? I'm afraid without making noise. Is the door to the house open? I don't know, probably. I don't think he has a key, I'm not sure. Because I think he broke in here. Can you see out any window that you're at? They're all curtains shut. What's that? What's that noise? I don't hear anything. If you think you can get out, you need to get out. Not unless they were right here. They would hear me catch me any strong.
So she's saying she'd try if she could see the cops.
She's on the first floor. Are you at the house closest to the laundromat or the other one? Are you the one closest to the laundromat or the other one? You were standing in the laundromat looking at the two houses that would be on the left. Here, look out of the laundromat. So if you're looking at the laundromat, be the one on the right. At the laundromat. She said if you're looking at the laundromat, it'd be the one on the left. Side door. Side door. And the side door. The side door to the right.
They're so close.
Okay, I can hear him. You hear him? Okay, do you think you can get out? Yeah. Are you out of the bedroom? Yes. It doesn't have a doorknob. You need to push. The door doesn't have a doorknob? Can you see them? No, have them push the door. He said push the door. Are they on the other side of the door? Yeah, I think so. He said have you guys push the door. There's no doorknob there. Just push it.
He took the doorknobs out.
Do they get her? Why did you stop it right there?
Because I wanted to talk about this just continues to get worse. So she finally escapes the bedroom after I mean, just my opinion, that 911 operator was a little aggressive. Like, if you can get out, you need to get out, is exactly what she said. Ma'am, she would have done that already, clearly.
I mean, I kind of get it, though. She's trying to get her through the fear, and, like, 'cause clearly she was able to get out of that room without waking him. She was just too terrified to try.
But
I'm thinking, like, if she's already risking calling, she's risking a taser and a strong person. She's not risking a gun. You know, so it's like, I mean...
that we know of. I mean,
yeah. I'm just going off the information she provided.
Well, either way, if I ever get abducted, I hope that lady
I feel
does not
sorry for
answer
them.
the phone. Yeah. They would release me instantly. Then it gets even worse than the no doorknob situation.
I think I'll... Can you get out of the bedroom? And the door is...
So she's not out of the bedroom.
Can you hear anybody right now? Heard the side door open. She heard the side door open. I think so. Out of the bedroom. You're out?
She got out.
Of the
Okay,
bedroom.
can you get to the door where you can see out? Huh? Can you get out of the house? It's locked. Are you at the door? Yeah, I am. She's at the door. She's on the door to the right-hand side of the house. Yeah. She's at the door on the right side of the house. She got out of the bedroom. Is there a window there? Yeah, I'm looking out and they're telling me to come back. She said, hurry. She said to hurry up and come back.
So they went to the wrong house.
Literally, she escaped out of the bedroom. My heart dropped when I first listened to this. Why were they walking? Why were they leaving? So she got out of the bedroom.
Maybe they thought it was the wrong house because it was a little confusing.
It was confusing, and there were a bunch of abandoned houses in that area, but they were so close. She escaped. Like, she felt, I mean, I don't know how she felt, but I can imagine feeling like, okay, this is about to end, and then you see the officers start to walk away after they were just there. But right as, like, you think something bad is, like, gonna happen, finally some relief does come from this call.
Hurry. She said to hurry up and come back. Yeah, they can see me if they come to it. The door is locked. No, the bedroom door has no door here. This one, it's locked. You can't get out. Can you unlock the door at all?
Hurry up, get out here.
They got her.
Where is it?
Bedroom sleeping.
Still sleeping?
Yeah. Okay, they have her. You went on armed.
Unarmed?
Yeah.
Right. You need to go. Hang on.
So they got him.
They got him. So, I know that 911 call, literally, I had chills the whole time. So she was able to escape. Of course, like I said, the call is much longer, and I will link it in the show notes, so you can go listen to it if you want. They immediately take the man into custody. This man is 40-year-old Shawn Grate. Once they get him into custody, they start to search the house. They go to the basement, and as they search, they find a body under bags of trash. It is the body of a woman. She is already deceased. She has a purse next to her, and it has an ID in it. It is the body of 43-year-old Stacy Stanley. Stacy was reported missing on September 8th, 2016, so literally 6 days before this phone call was made. She was a mom, a grandma, and her sister is the one who reported her missing. They were super close. Her sister said they spoke on the phone the day before, and Stacy called her because she got a flat tire and she was trying to get some help. While they were on the phone, someone offers to help her. She said that there was this really nice man there and he was going to help her, and that was the last time anyone heard from her. Terrifying.
It's another reason I always say every person should know how to change their own tires.
You help people on the side of the road. That's why I get so nervous when you do things like this. Her family thought it was super strange that they hadn't heard from her, so they decided to file a missing persons report. The police, though, were unwilling to help. Stacy has a history of substance use disorder. So she's had run-ins with, the law and everything, and her family is sure that she had been sober for 6 months and was doing wonderfully.
So the police just thought she was on a spree, just out running as hard as she could go.
They did not care that her family was saying that. They literally told the family they weren't looking because she probably just went somewhere to get high. Which I feel like for her family to have enough trust to say something's wrong, she's 6 months sober, is a big deal. Because I feel like my family would have been like, yeah, she probably is just going to get high somewhere. So.
Yeah.
But they did find her car, and in her car was her wallet and her phone. No one is going to... Okay, if you're getting high...
You need the wallet.
Those are the two main things that you're going to have with you. Stacy's family decided to take matters in their own hands, and they started searching, passing out flyers. They started to search at the location they found her car. They started going to every building in the Ashland, Ohio area, and they ended up paying special attention to a couple abandoned buildings across from the laundromat. They said it was because they could see signs that someone was living in there. They called the police multiple times begging them to go in that building and check it out, and the police said no.
So they were calling about that exact house?
The exact house. I read some sources that said they were knocking on the door and everything. So they knew, they found her.
But they didn't.
They were
I
afraid to
in that
go
situation,
in.
But I was saying, I would go in.
Yeah, so that was the next thing. They were afraid to go in because they didn't want to get in trouble for trespassing.
I would not care at that point.
So
they'll give you a trespassing ticket and maybe a night in jail, at best.
That's true, but they're
worth it.
Probably law-abiding citizens and don't really think the way we do.
No, but I'm thinking if I'm trying to save my child.
Yeah.
Or sister, whichever, I can't remember.
Grandma.
Yeah, I'm not going to care. I'll take the risk.
As police continue their search through this abandoned building, they make it up to the second floor. There is a closet that has been duct taped shut, so obviously something is in there. Once they get in, they find the nude body of a woman who had been hogtied. She had decomposed so badly that she was barely recognizable.
So he's been doing this for a while.
It makes me think, how did they not, instantly smell that? I've never smelled a decomposed body, but...
It seems like it would be strong. Because,
I always hear other...
the thing driving down the road whenever one of the bloated deer have exploded. And you can smell that for
gross,
a mile.
And I didn't even think about that. That's gross.
So you think you would be able to smell a body rotting out of a house?
Yeah. It took them a week to identify the body, but they ultimately ID'd her through dental records. It is the body of Elizabeth Griffith. Elizabeth went missing on August 16th, 2016. Elizabeth had some mental disabilities, and they did find some footage of her grocery shopping. It really doesn't go anywhere. This was when she was reported missing. It was this huge mystery, but honestly, it didn't get much attention. she didn't really have like family that was pushing for her, and like Stacy did. So neither Stacy nor Elizabeth got any media attention, is what I'm saying. Like, it didn't catch any. People weren't helping. The police weren't even helping. The woman on the phone has never revealed her identity because she was sexually assaulted. After autopsies on the two bodies, it was found that the two women were sexually assaulted, tortured, and both strangled to death. When Shawn was being interviewed, he confessed immediately. He says that the woman who called 911 was different. He did not plan to kill her. Everything they did was consensual.
Sure sounds like it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote. Sounded like it. Because
She did a good job of making
when I
him,
hang
making him
out with
believe
you, I don't have the urge to call 911 from the bedroom door.
that. Well, she did a good job of making him believe that. Clearly, so that it would keep her alive longer.
Well, and I get into this
So,
more.
like, that makes me think, like, considering the other two bodies, now that we have that information, the 911 operator was correct in trying to get her out of there because it was a matter of time before he did kill her.
Yeah, and I get more into her story here in a minute. I don't know if she made him believe. I'll
we
leave
don't,
it up
but
to you
yeah,
what
okay.
you think.
Okay.
So while he was confessing, he also started talking about other murders. He told police where they could find the body of another woman, and they went there, and it was true. This woman's name was Candace Cunningham. Candace was Shawn's girlfriend. She was never even reported missing. Can you imagine? She also had a history of substance use disorder, and apparently she told her family she was going to move to North Carolina, so I guess they just
Kind of wrote her off.
didn't expect to hear from her again. I don't know, that one really bothered me because, I mean, I also have a history of substance use disorder, and the same year I did up and move to a different state. My family expects to hear from me minimum of once a day. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Every family's different. It's just,
she's been dead for months.
well, that's something. It sounds bad, but that's something they'll have to live with.
Yeah. The next location he takes them to also has a body. Well, it has scattered bones everywhere.
Dude, how many people did he kill?
Isn't this crazy? And this was 2016, and I've never heard of this. These bones were previously discovered and identified as the remains of Rebecca Lisi.
So the police had already found them before. They just couldn't tie them to anybody.
Right. Rebecca was reported missing in February of 2016. Again, it was not taken seriously because she had a history of substance use disorder. They initially ruled her death as a heroin overdose. So, just, if anything ever happens, remind me never to go to Ashland, Ohio. Because they...
I mean, they may have a different outlook on it now.
I hope so. Because they really dropped the ball on this one. Multiple times. Not saying it's their fault these people got murdered, but there were many chances to step in.
That's what that stigma can do for you.
Yeah. So Shawn was targeting people that he knew wouldn't really be missed. And like people wouldn't put a lot of effort into finding them, and he was right. He literally said that he killed Rebecca because she stole $4 from him.
What?
$4 made him snap.
Well, I mean, clearly he's not in any right mental state.
So we talk about that too.
So like anything can make you snap.
Yeah, we talk about that too, and I wanted to get your opinion on that. He then said the first time he ever murdered someone was in 2005. He couldn't remember her name, but he said she came to the door selling magazines. He said his mom, who he was living with at the time, bought some of the magazines and never received them. He then ran into her in public, and he pretended that he wanted to buy more magazines. He then kidnapped her and stabbed her to death. He said her bones were found in 2007, but they were never identified. It wasn't until years later, even after this, in 2019, that she was finally identified. So literally just a couple years ago. She was identified through DNA, and her name is Dana Lowry. She was only 23 years old. He said he could remember that her name, he thought her name started with a D, but he couldn't remember. As he was talking about motive, this is where, when you were talking about his mental state, he started saying that government assistance is ruining people's minds. He said everyone he killed, their minds were already gone. They were just bodies flopping around. Basically, he was mad that he didn't get much in government assistance, so he was angry that they received more.
We're not going down that rabbit hole.
Because of all this weird rambling, because there was a lot more, he basically sounds like Charlie off of It's Always Sunny. His lawyers tried to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. He met with a doctor and was ultimately deemed fit to stand trial. I listened to a lot of the trial. Mostly I focused on Jane Doe, the woman who made the 911 call, and it like broke my heart. She seems the opposite of when he says she was different, like that. I think that statement is true, because she was extremely religious, and due to that did not believe in sex before marriage. So much so that she wouldn't allow Shawn into her house. She said that she had strict boundaries. He pretended to also be religious, and they would meet up, talk about the Bible, and walk around Ashland. He seemed super normal, and then it was like one day he snapped. So when you were talking about like maybe she made him believe that it was like a consensual thing, I just don't know. There's like a part of me that thinks maybe he got mad because her boundaries were so strict.
That's possible.
So she was saving herself until marriage, and he raped her multiple times. So, and then I just feel like she's like the most courageous woman ever, because she did testify against him, obviously, and made that 911 call, and basically probably saved a lot of other women.
Oh, definitely.
By doing
he clearly
that.
wasn't going to stop at her.
In 2018, Shawn was convicted for the kidnapping, rape, and murders of Elizabeth Griffith and Stacey Stanley. In 2019, he was convicted for the murders of Candace Cunningham, Rebecca Lisi, and Dana Lowry. He was sentenced to death. The most recent thing I can find on him is that he is fighting the death penalty. His appeals have been denied, but he is still trying.
I didn't know Ohio still had death penalty.
Yeah. And the most recent article I could find published about him said that his new lawyer that's helping him like appeal the death penalty is a woman out of Lexington, Kentucky. So he did ultimately though get charged for all the murders. So yeah, I just thought that was so crazy. The whole story, just how recent it was. It's close to here. The 911 call, like all of it together is just terrifying to me.
It is, because that was just, that's just 4 hours, just shy of 4 hours from where we live.
Yeah. And I was listening to one podcast. Again, I got a lot of information from multiple podcasts, and one of them said that there are also, I think it was Crime Junkie, because they're also around like that area, said that there was another area in Ohio, Chillicothe.
That's even closer.
Where there are a ton of missing women still, like to this day. Well, at the time they recorded, I didn't look into that part, but they thought maybe this was their theory, not the cops, but I love them. So maybe he was also involved in...
That's maybe an hour from here.
And I think it was a lot of women that also have substance use backgrounds and things like that. So
it definitely fits his motive.
yeah,
Or not motive. MO.
MO.
MO. Yeah.
So
That's wild.
I know. All right, well, yeah, go over and like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
YouTube. Subscribe.
I always forget about YouTube.
Punch that subscribe button.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we will talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.